Hello and welcome to today's trigger tutorial. Today we'll be looking at loading audio files into a trigger project, setting a trim point and setting a little ramp in on that trim point. I'm running the Windows version of Trigger here. The same principles will apply if you're running this on a Mac, but a few details will be slightly different. Now there are various ways that you can load an audio file into a Trigger project. This particular project is set out in grid layout. So the first way I could load an audio button into a cell is to right click on the cue sheet in the cell where I want the audio button to appear. Pop-up menu appears, I click add audio button, select my audio file and click open, and there the audio file has an associated button appearing in the cue sheet in the cell where I originally selected. You can add audio buttons by clicking on the toolbar, or you could go to the main menu button and add audio button option from the main menu. I tend to prefer adding audio buttons by right clicking on the cue sheet, but it's down to your own personal preferences. Now Trigger works with two native formats, native audio formats, and those are WAVs and AIFs. So you can additionally drag a WAV file or an AIF file from, for example, Finder on a Mac or Windows Explorer on a PC. You can drag that onto your cue sheet and drop, and if you're in grid layout as I am at the moment, then where you drop, the cell where you drop is where the audio file will appear. But now I'm going to just demonstrate what happens if you try to load a format that's not native, not a WAV, not an AIF. Say I've just downloaded a file from iTunes and it's in M4A format. So I'll navigate to a folder here where I know I have some M4As. I have a WAV file here that I've created earlier, but I can't see any M4As, and that's because in the filter box down here it's set to look at native audio files only. So I change that option, so now the M4As pop up, and we'll choose this track here, Deacon Blues. It's an M4A, as you can see, and we'll click open. Now I get a little window that pops up here telling me that it needs to convert the non-native format into a WAV or an AIF. I have a choice to convert to WAVs or AIFs here, and we're going to keep it on WAV for now. And I can choose to put the resulting converted audio in the same folder as the source file, or in the latest audio file folder that has been used most recently, or I can browse and put it anywhere on my system. For now I'm going to choose to keep it the same as the source, and I simply now click on convert, and Trigger converts the audio file into a WAV file and places it in the cell where I originally clicked. So now we have that M4A converted into a WAV file. So those are the basic ways that you can load audio files into a Trigger project. Remember that you can only drag and drop WAV or AIF files onto your project. Now if I right click on this tag section here, and I get a pop-up menu, I can go to button properties, and if I go to trim clip, I can trim the in point on this. So let's just have a quick listen to it. Maybe I want to lose this little intro, for demonstration purposes and come in, say here. Now I can if I click within this red box here while the track is playing, I can set the trim in point on the fly. Alternatively, I can use these nudge buttons here and nudge the trim in point. But for now I'm going to set it on the fly, and if I right click on the waveform I can, or center click I should say on the waveform, I can adjust the play position. So I can do that like that, and I'm going to want the in point here. There. Now I'll listen to that in point by simply playing it back, and now I'm just going to adjust that trim in point. So I just hear that. So for the sakes of arguments now, let's say I'm happy with that in point. If in reality, obviously I'd spend more time tidying this up. But because I've got a little bit of air at the beginning of that, I'm going to put just do a quick ramp in on this. So we'll zoom right in to the trim in point like this, and we'll just have another quick listen. So this is the region here that I want to make my ramp go across. So I just click on the nudge millisecond button so it looks like I've got the right region that I'm after. So that's a linear ramp in at that point, but I want to just make it a slightly more rounded in point. I'm not happy with that linear curve here, so I can left click in this region here and add a node, and now I can then drag this node around and change the shape of the curve, fade in curve. This is very subtle in this instance, but I'm going to add another node here. So we've got I can make a slightly rounded fade in curve here, and now we'll listen to that, and that's more the sort of more what I was looking for. Got this slightly rounded curve. Remember, you can just drag these nodes around and get the exact shape that you want, and you can add as many nodes on here as you wish. So I'm happy with that, and we'll click done, and then we can listen to the results by playing the button there. Okay, well that concludes today's tutorial on loading audio, converting audio, setting a trim in point, and setting a ramp on it. I hope you've learned something from this, and look forward to talking to you again next time.